Never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Bit me with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the panty? What's up, Butters? We're going to make a fortune off of this. Welcome in, everybody. We're talking today about 52 movies from the year 1993. This is 52/1993. We're not going to talk about all 52 today. We're going to talk about one great movie that probably encapsulated a lot of our childhoods that are probably joining us today. The logo that is not present is relevant now, and I've got, some things that I need to fix and look at still. We're learning. We're growing. But today's movie is Jurassic Park, and we're going to be talking about it with my friend and co-host, Steven. So let's go ahead and bring him in here and get things started. It's going to be a big podcast today because this is a great movie. In my opinion, I'm already spoiling a little bit about that. But we'll go ahead and bring him in now. So welcome in, Steven.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
Good, brother.
Good deal. Well, I've already kind of talked to Steven a little bit earlier today. What's on the VCR or what's on the TV back there? That's Jurassic Park is playing in the background, as you can see. It's hard to kind of focus in on the TV unless I have it closer. But yeah, this one's actually relevant, and it's actually the right movie. It's not Goodfellas for the 1,000th time this year.
Yeah, I actually wore my wife's. It's actually really small on me. Wore my wife's Jurassic Park shirt in celebration of today. Yeah, great movie for sure.
Absolutely. Let me see. I'm gonna move.
Let's see if I can.
I'm going to be changing some things on brand. Look at him. He's
Busting out of it,
he's really busting out.
Busting out of it.
Yeah, put that back on.
Put it back on. Yeah, too much skin. Too much
skin, absolutely. Just going to take this chat off here for now. That's okay. Everybody can still chat. Doesn't have to show on the screen. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's learn a little bit more about Jurassic Park. Let's dive. It's going to be a long one, I feel like, today, and I'd rather get things moving than wait on some things. So we're talking about Jurassic Park. This movie came out on June 11th, 1993, and it was directed by the great Steven Spielberg, our first of two Steven Spielberg movies this year. It was written by Michael Crichton and David Koepp, based on Crichton's book of the same title. David Koepp, Michael Crichton, if you don't know who he is, famous novelist, wrote a lot of books that get turned into movies and TV shows and things like that. Has a lot of great works out there. Congo, ER, Timeline, all these are kind of The Lost World, the sequel to this one. Westworld. Is it Crichton thing?
Westworld.
Okay. I didn't know
Westworld.
that. But David Koepp is a famous screenwriter as well. He wrote some of these great action movies that went on to be box office successes like Mission Impossible, Spider-Man, Lost World. He's going to be back up again later this year. Carlito's Way, he wrote that. It's another 1993 movie for us. So we've already got a star-studded cast for director and writing. Let's go ahead and dive into the actual actors for this film. So Sam Neill plays Dr. Alan Grant. Laura Dern plays Dr. Ellie Sadler. Jeff Goldblum plays Dr. Ian Malcolm. Richard Attenborough plays John Hammond. Joseph Mazzello plays Tim. Ariana Richards plays Lex. Some other minor characters, but I went ahead and listed them all anyway. Samuel L. Jackson plays Ray Arnold. Wayne Knight of Newman fame from Seinfeld plays Dennis Nedry. Bob Peck plays Robert Muldoon. He's kind of the raptor guy. Martin Ferrero plays Donald Gennaro. And B.D. Wong has a brief role in here as Dr. Henry Wu. And the synopsis, which we'll go into from Google, I thought this one was good. In Steven Spielberg's massive blockbuster, paleontologist Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and mathematician Ian Malcolm are among a select group chosen to tour an island theme park populated by dinosaurs created from prehistoric DNA. While the park's mastermind, billionaire John Hammond, assures everyone that the facility is safe, they find out otherwise when various ferocious predators break free and go on the hunt. This movie has a budget, surprisingly to me, of $63 million, which is insane to think about that this movie was made. I mean, even adjusted for inflation, I bet we're probably looking at like a, I don't know, $75-80 million movie.
Yeah, 10 times the money, right?
Yeah, and box office for this is 1.046 billion dollars. Billion with a B. We've reached the box office number one of the year 1993. And this movie has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 91% and an IMDb rating of 8.2 out of 10. The legacy of this movie is pretty insane. Has a full-on movie franchise with 2 direct sequels to this. And a separate Jurassic World trilogy based on the original series or stories. It was nominated for and won all 3 Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Sound, Visual Effects, Sound Effects, Editing. The NBA is involved in this. The Toronto Raptors were named after, with the popularity of Raptors and dinosaurs after this, when they became an expansion team in 1995. A lot of that comes from this. And this is one of the biggest movies of all time. It is number 18 on the all-time box office gross list, adjusted for inflation. So number 18 out of all those. It was the number 1 movie of all time until it was dethroned in 97, 98, 97 for Titanic. Titanic eventually took over that. And I think this movie beat out, might have been Return of the Jedi, which beat out E.T., which beat out, all the, like, goes back and forth, all this stuff. I think this is going to be a good jumping off point for you and I, because these reviews are not as good as I thought when I was pulling reviews. Even like the good review that I'm going to read, it kind of comes off as like a little bit of a slap in the face, I think.
Yeah. Before you jump into reviews, though, a few things I wanted to say just about casting and stuff like that. I thought it was you said it. I think maybe if I didn't stumble on it and you would have just said it, I would have like heard it and maybe Googled it. But Richard Attenborough's David Attenborough's brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was kind of a fun part of the casting as I read that Sean Connery was considered for Richard Hammond, but they went with, and the way they said it was, but they went with David Attenborough's brother, and I was like, "Whoa, that makes so much sense." So that was a cool thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. A couple other things, they considered Harrison Ford for Grant and Christina Ricci for Lex, the young teenage girl. I thought that was pretty cool. Like casting fun facts. Yeah,
the cast is such an interesting part to jump off on, because Robin Wright was offered the role of Ellie Sattler. Kurt Russell was offered the role of Alan Grant, but decided not to do it. William Hurt, Harrison Ford, like you said, were all up for the Grant role there. And if you look at the people in this, like, none of these are like bankable names. If this would have been if Harrison Ford would have been in this movie, this is a Harrison Ford movie. But we have Sam Neill. Like, none of these actors are, they're working obviously but they're kind of like indie darlings. Like, especially Laura Dern. She did a few movies with David Lynch that are like just these smaller movies, and she's a great actress.
Samuel L's not even like Samuel L.
Yeah, in a year we get Samuel L. with Pulp Fiction, and I mean, Sam Neill, again, he's a working actor, but like not somebody that you're going to put on the list or on the like poster to sell tickets. And I think that's a really interesting choice to do this movie.
Yeah, I'm really glad that like Harrison Ford didn't like. I kind of agree with the chat. Like, I think it works out that the dinosaurs become the face of
Yeah.
this franchise versus Harrison Ford being the face of the franchise, like kind of said in the chat.
And it's interesting that this is kind of what Spielberg does. Jaws is kind of the original blockbuster movie that sets this all off in motion. Not big name stars attached to that. E.T. It's about the children and the alien. He's really good at selecting these casts and not really shining too much of light. Now he gets in that a little bit with Tom Cruise later in his career, but for the most part, like, he can craft a blockbuster movie, a great movie, without those stars. And a little bit of me thinks that that's kind of the problem with where we're at now. If you look at a Jurassic World franchise, like, it is centered around Chris Pratt, who's Star-Lord, who's a part of the Marvel universe, and everything else. Like, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, like, that is his thing. Tom Cruise is Mission Impossible. Like, those movies don't work unless they have that title character, and it's a little bit to blame for or like recency with all the superhero movies and everything. That's a little to blame to where we're at now, but it's kind of nice to look back at a movie like this and see what happened with it.
Yeah, great casting.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
casting, but especially in the kids.
Yes,
they did great with the kids.
Another thing that Spielberg is just amazing at is casting these kids. And there's a good story about the kid that plays Tim. He was actually up for the role of Jack in Hook. And Spielberg really liked him, but he said he was too young for the role. And he was like, I will get you a role. And he came to him with Jurassic Park. And I would have been like, heck yeah, I got the better. I feel like I got the better role. So, but yeah, I'd love to talk about this cast. It's a great cast. Let's talk about the reviews real quick. Roger Ebert wrote this, and I took out a couple different sections of his review that, again, I don't think it's like super positive. And a lot of the reviews are like this. There's a scene very early in the film where Neil and Dern, who have studied dinosaurs all of their lives, see living ones for the first time. The creatures they see are tall, majestic leaf eaters, grazing placidly in the treetops. There's a sense of grandeur to them, and that is the sense lacking in the rest of the film, which quickly turns into a standard monster movie with screaming victims fleeing from roaring dinosaurs.
Ooh.
And then he also says on the monster movie level, the movie works and it's entertaining, but with its abundant resources, it could have been so much more. And Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 stars.
I wonder if he kind of stuck with that late, like after its popularity.
So I looked at that too, because like I have these Roger Ebert books behind me where it's all these great films and stuff. And a lot of times he will go back and redo those reviews that he has. And I couldn't find anything about this. So I don't know. I think he kind of stuck to his guns on this one.
Man, I kind of like that. I like that we kind of get his opinion before it's, like it's the biggest movie ever. We get that raw, like initial opinion before everybody else loved it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I didn't look at any reviews, so it's cool to hear.
Yeah, here's another one. All the imagination and effort that went into making the dinosaurs state of the art exciting, that went into making the dinosaurs state of the art exciting, apparently left not time to make the people similarly believable or involving. So apparently left the people to not be similarly believable or involving. Whatever. It's poorly written.
Okay.
In fact, when the big guys leave the screen, you'll be tempted to leave the theater with them. 2 out of 5 stars.
Ooh, who is that?
That was Kenneth Turan from the Los Angeles Times. I bet he's...
Wow.
I would love to see what people's reactions are to this now.
I mean, in personal opinion, like I don't think the acting's bad.
No.
Far from it, in fact. Yeah. Can yeah, I think
Kenneth's
I
a
agree with
bum.
the chat. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kenneth's the
Kenneth's a
bomb, I
bum,
think.
man.
I like
So
it.
for my initial reaction to this movie, and I can't have a true like initial reaction to this movie because the first time I saw it, I was a kid, and seeing it as a child, I think I mean, blown away.
Yeah.
It's like seeing those when they see the dinosaurs for the first time. Like that's the reaction I have.
Well, I mean, I gotta. This is a story I've told very rarely in my life, but the crazy story for me when it comes to Jurassic Park is like, my dad at the time of this movie coming out to tape where it was you could rent it from the Blockbuster, or for us it was like Video 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they had some of the kids from the youth group over, and they were watching Jurassic Park. um, and I wasn't allowed to watch it because I was not of age. I was not 13 yet, and my parents were worried about me watching it. But Sneaky Steven
I love
crawled,
Sneaky Steven.
yeah, crawled hands and knees to like the corner of the wall in the living room and watched the opening scene and had nightmares for years because of it. Like, watched that opening scene, went back to my room and was traumatized.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, scared the pants off of me. And then, like, I probably saw the movie much, much later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe when the second one was coming out. Uh, but yeah, it was very impactful for me as a child.
I mean, that opening scene is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
I almost always like I forget about it, and then when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this now. But
One thing I really noticed this time watching was I feel like I think about seeing Jurassic Park before it's Jurassic Park and going to the theaters and watching it as like a middle-aged human. And I thought for the first time, it seems like that opening scene, they make it seem like a dinosaur is going to come out.
mm-hmm.
Like, I had never thought that in any of my previous watchings of this movie, is like, oh, they make it seem like a T-Rex is about to come out of the. I thought there was just kind of a tension building as a kid. It was just like branches moving and stuff like that. But yeah, what a strong start.
I love this part, and basically they're just transporting. One of the people that's working for them gets killed by this, and then sets up the rest of this movie how dangerous this thing is. But we don't even get to see a dinosaur yet. Like, we see a little bit of the raptor. I think we see the eyes, and then we just see this guy. I still don't know what I thought when I was a child what happened, because I'm pretty sure I didn't really understand that guy was getting eaten. I just thought there was something in there. He got sucked in somehow. I don't know. But you get the shooter
Yeah, this
scene.
definitely this watch. Yeah, definitely this watch. What a tough raptor. I mean, they are like bzz, 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 like 10 dudes going in on this raptor, and it's like, nope, I'm eating right now. And lifting, like the way it lifts him off the ground is just like, man, intense. And then the shooter. I mean, yeah, the dramatic dude, maybe one of the greatest openings to any movie. Like, just
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah, so that's the first scene of Jurassic Park. Sets you up for a pretty action-packed movie.
Man, poor Joffrey, just getting
Joffrey.
chomped on from the get-go.
And then I think we get I don't know if we get the Dodson scene yet, or
No.
we meet Alan and Ellie. That's a little bit.
We're in the Dominican Republic. Lawyers coming across, getting pulled across the water. And one thing that I found that was like in the version I was watching that I rented, he says something in Spanish when they're pulling the lawyer across the water. He says, "I've got 1,000 pesos," saying he falls. And then they get to walking, and he falls like just a few moments later. And
I didn't
that
know
was
that.
kind of yeah, that was a first. Like I picked up on that for the first time. And then he takes him into the mines, like takes him into the mine, and that's when he's like, Grant's like me, he's a digger.
A digger.
Because the lawyer's talking about, we got to get some experts out here. And if we get these experts out here, the insurance companies will get off of our back. So yeah, that's when we jump to Grant and Ellie out in the desert.
Yeah, and then we get a great scene where they're digging up these velociraptors, and they're trying this new technology that basically they're shooting like radar or sonar into the earth to show the bones or whatever. But we get this great interaction. We get this great interaction, introduction to Alan Grant and Ellie. And we have this Alan Grant who is, business as usual, like loves what he does, and also like is very passionate about his views on what dinosaurs are and where they came from. And we get this little bitch of a kid.
More like a 6-foot turkey.
Yeah, more like a 6. And yeah, we get this interaction where he scares the hell out of this child by describing what a raptor would do to him if he was face to face with one. Don't know how he knows this knowledge based on bones.
So
whatever.
Early in life, don't fuck with paleontologists, or they'll scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, don't. That's the number one rule. If you're talking to a guy that knows dinosaurs, they will scare you. That's a good. Yeah. But I mean, this sets us up. This gives us a little bit more into Alan and like another like, I don't think it's like a side plot or anything, but about him not wanting children and his like interactions with children, because he does become this like father figure over the rest of the film. And this gives obviously it's a little on the nose, but it sets you up to be like, no, this guy hates kids and does not want to be around them. We don't get as much of that with Ellie, but we meet John Hammond here, and he offers them money to fund their paleontology digs and everything for the next 3 years if they just come to his park.
My favorite thing about this scene is he's like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" or something like that, and he grabs his finger and shakes it, and then like blows the dust off like LeBron James, like just goes everywhere just because he shook his finger, like and then offers to fund. Man, that's something that stuck out. It was like, if somebody came to you, Cody, and was like, "Hey, I'll pay your salary for the next 3 years," they'd be like, "All right, away we go."
I would just be like, I don't need to see the park. I'd just be like, yeah, good, great.
Yeah, what do you need me to sign?
Yeah, I'll sign anything.
Yeah.
This guy's like, oh, I got to put my name on it. I want to approve it myself. So.
Oh, and that's what takes us to Dodson. Dodson.
We got Dodson over here. For a time, I thought that shaving cream was edible because of this scene, because he puts it on the pie.
No menthol, and then just slides it onto a slice of pie. That poor person that got that slice of pie.
That pie.
That shaving cream pie.
That shaving cream pie. This is the setup for the disaster that's about to happen. Basically, Dodson is getting paid by this other company to get these embryos of these dinosaurs off the island and into their hands, so they can.
In 18 minutes, baby.
That's right. You just hate Nedry the entire time.
Oh man, Dennis from the intro, and one thing that I've got to comment on, and I thought maybe like it was just in my brain from the past. Tell me that when he's showing him the shaving cream can and he opens up the bottom, it makes this like, it's either him laughing or there's like this noise that happens.
He's
They're
laughing.
always, yeah, man. It just that is the funniest laugh. It sounds like a sound effect. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he is so
Dennis's
excited about this.
he's getting paid fat. That was something that jumped out to me is that I noticed this watch that there's $750,000 in the '90s in that bag. So like he's getting man, he's getting
He's getting
and then if
stacks,
when he gets
man.
the rest, he's getting like 1.5 million. So yeah, living the life up to this point. don't
Living that life. Just for, I
don't
mean,
don't get cheap on me, Dotson.
don't get cheap on it. Dodson. I mean, just stupid quotes like this. It's even, I mean, it's not much of a scene, but I remember it so well.
It's so good. It's so well delivered, right? Like he's
Mhm.
supposed to be hated. You're supposed to hate him, and he does it so well from the get
Yeah.
go. Opening scene.
After this, we get them, right? I think riding to Jurassic Park
Oh
on
yeah.
the and meeting Ian Malcolm for the first time, meeting Jeff
Oh
Goldblum's
yeah.
character, and everybody being irritated with him because,
But also it's oddly attracted to him.
oh yeah,
It's like everybody in the helicopter is like, man, this guy's hot, but he's weird.
I know that you wanted to talk about this scene specifically because of his laughing as he's eating like peanuts.
He's like,
Something.
yeah, he's talking about his chaos theory and already hitting on Ellie, like right in front of Grant. Like the dynamic between them is, kind of open in the movie for sure, but like just hitting on her from the get go. Oh, you've never heard of it's odd that you've never heard of the attraction. Just and then that laugh is so good as they come upon Jurassic Park for the first time, or actually
Oh,
Isla Nobler, which I found means clouded island. The
Clouded
name of
Island.
in English is Clouded Island. So they're getting there for the first time.
Is this in the Pacific? I still don't know where this. It says off Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Um,
unidentified area off of Costa Rica.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I used to think it was all filmed in Hawaii, most of it anyway.
yeah.
So
Which in the
anytime you're
books
watching a
and
show,
much later you find out is kind of Island A.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's an Island B which goes to the Lost World and all this other stuff.
Spoiler word.
So.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry.
Spoiler: if you haven't seen this 30-year-old movie, spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
yeah. Sorry to ruin it for
Also,
you.
one of the things while they're landing, and I learned this a few years ago, but wanted to bring it up, is when they're landing and everybody's putting on their seat belts and everything, we see that Grant doesn't have the male female to buckle his, so he ends up just like tying them together and then securing himself. And some people believe this is foreshadowing for the future of this movie, where at one point Grant finds these eggs and finds out that these dinosaurs are actually reproducing, even though all of them are supposed to be female. Life finds a way.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa, damn! That's awesome. Where'd you get
Yeah.
that?
So
Where did you get
I
that
don't.
from?
I'm sure some BuzzFeed article or something like that, like
Man,
5 years
go
ago.
ahead,
But
BuzzFeed.
yeah,
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah. I don't know if it's intentional or if it was just supposed to be a funny part in it, but it makes sense with him using the two females and just tying them together. So. Yeah, and this is like one of the most important scenes after they kind of land and everything.
I will
This
say
is one
when
of the
they're
most important
landing,
scenes in the movie.
yeah, when they're landing, the epic music begins. Like
Oh
at
yeah,
that point, that's when we get the Jurassic Park song. And that's the first time we get a taste of that. I mean, we're gonna get a lot of epic music throughout this, but man, this is when they're first coming on up to the island, and landing is when we get the
Ba,
song.
ba, ba, ba.
Yeah, yeah. Just
One
one of the greatest movie songs of all time. Like, just
and it wasn't
it's
even
so
nominated
iconic.
for. I don't think it was nominated for best score.
Yeah, who did I should have looked it up.
John Williams is the one that did the score for
Uh,
this. He's already got like 1,000 nominations, but
Man,
I don't think he was.
what a great song. I mean, if you play that song, everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Schindler's List actually wins best score that year, which is another John Williams score. So he's doing double time the work. But
But to say, hum me something from Schindler's List.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
They got it wrong that year.
They got it wrong. They definitely got it wrong. You're right.
Uh,
After they land and everything, we get this Jeep ride, and they're explaining what they're going to see this weekend, and John better prove himself, or it's going
the
to
lawyer,
close down the park.
the
kind of
lawyer's
thing.
really saying like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna get you if this is not what it's supposed to be," kind of thing. And that's when they just drive into the field of
This is the scene. This is the Welcome to Jurassic Park scene.
yeah.
We see the herd of brachiosauruses in the and them seeing a live dinosaur for the first time. Like, I don't know what they're actually acting with, because that's like part of the CGI, but their reactions are, like you said, the acting in this is there's a lot of action and stuff where you don't see a lot of acting, but I believe that those people are seeing dinosaurs for the first time, and we are seeing dinosaurs for the first time and being blown away. Like, the CGI in this at the time, it was just amazing. It's still good. You can tell a little bit.
That brontosaurus up close, it feels like it's there. The way it reaches up into the tree, grabs the leaves, and hits the ground. It's like the camera kind of shakes when it hits the ground. I mean, it feels like it's there, and their reactions to it, and the way even the lawyer being like, "We're gonna make a fortune off of this.
We're gonna make a
Like,
fortune.
oh yeah, even everybody's reaction to it, and even I mean, it's like even Hammond, after seeing it before and being there and creating it, is still like, haha, look at this.
Yeah.
That like all of it's so well done.
And one thing I'll say about John Hammond is he is playing God, but I never feel like I don't feel like he knows that he's God in this scenario. Like, he is just happy to have done this.
Yeah, that's one thing that's a really big difference in the movie and the book. In the book, like, Hammond is way more like that motivated by money kind of nasty guy. But in this, it's more he's like just that, look what we created. Like, I want to I just want to share it now with like my grandkids even.
Yeah.
And
he talks about it in like upcoming scene where they're like, oh, the lawyer's like, we can do merchandising, we could charge whatever we wanted, $10,000, and John Hammond, one of the first things he says is like, no. I want everybody to be able to see this. And then the guy's like, we could do a coupon day or something. I hate the lawyer.
Yeah. But they basically are like, how did you do this? And he's like, let me show you how I did this. And that's when he takes him back to the like main facility and like puts him in this, almost like amusement park-esque pull the rails back ride. And this is something I mentioned to you earlier, is that like when he first walks up to the screen and a video version walks up to him and like pricks his finger for his blood. That I remember seeing that, even not like I didn't make it to that when I was army crawling to the living room. Like even later on, I was like, that's really cool. And I even think about like now Beyonce has done performances like that where there are video versions of her that she's like choreographing with in the background. And I I think that in my mind when I first saw that, it was like, man, there is something really cool about that idea of like a real person interacting with a video screen. But we also get the classic Dino DNA in
Dino.
this
Hello,
scene.
John. Hello.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. Hello, John.
Yeah,
Yeah, we get a lot of exposition here. This is basically
yeah,
explains the entire process, what they
yeah.
do to create the dinosaurs. So
They
a
start
very
going through this
creative,
ride. Yeah,
yeah, a very creative way to explain a lot of like scientific stuff in a fun way, and also move us along in the story and within this movie and keep us going and keep us interested in it. And
yeah.
we see, they get off the ride and they go to where
And
they're
this is the
hatching
first
the
like,
eggs.
yeah, this is the first like. That's why the rails were there. Is like you're not supposed to get up and go in there. But this is where they're like the first time that they're like, I wonder if you can just lift these rails up and break the rules. And that's like the first like, oh no, maybe we shouldn't let them in the cars around the dinosaurs. Right? Like that's the first time it's like, whoa, maybe we should pump the brakes big time.
Yeah.
They just broke these rules and now they're in there where things hatch.
Yeah, which is a great scene. They hatch we see a hatching velociraptor, which
Creepy. It's just so creepy, right?
yeah, it looks like Yoshi from the Super Mario Brothers movie,
But way bloodier.
but way a lot more afterbirth there.
Yeah.
And then we get introduced to the raptors and how deadly they are.
Yeah.
It gets one of my favorite parts. The only smart person in this movie, I think, besides Ellie Sadler. I think Ellie's really. I think Malcolm's pretty smart too. They're all smart, but like the raptor guy is like, we should kill them all, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
But we learn about how vicious the raptors are. There were 8 raptors in the beginning. Now there's only 3 because this one is insane and so smart. And they feed it a cow. That was a disturbing scene.
Yeah. We get there in the midst of between that, like the hatching and going to the cow. We get Malcolm really already being like, yo, this is not good. Like life finds a way and y'all are creating a problem. a big problem. Like that's one of the things I had to mention there is like him saying life finds a way. And
that's pretty good. That's a good Goldblum, man.
Yeah, the way he says that is like, oh, okay, another red flag. The crazy guy's like, this is a bad idea. And then we get that horrifying cow feeding where we get introduced to I like how you called him Raptor guy.
The Raptor guy.
The Raptor guy. And Grant's so like, are they smart? Are they smart? And he's like, yeah, they did this and they did this and they did this and they did this. And then we brought this big one in and it killed most of them. And then they tried this. Like it just, he's like, oh,
yeah.
It's pretty, they do a great job of establishing like the Raptors are the scariest.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like I understand wanting to, bring people in, create life and everything, but there should be let's start with things that only don't eat meat. Like let's start with the veggie sources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's
start with the veggie source. Because if you show me a dinosaur, if you show me a brachiosaurus, I'm amazed. If that was the only thing at your park, I'm amazed. Because that thing doesn't exist.
I love the line from Raptor Guy. When she looks at you, you see she's working things out. And it's like, hey, I'm ready to go home. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I'm out.
I don't want to be nowhere around this raptor that kills other raptors and is looking for weaknesses in the fence systematically.
And we already know has killed a human being.
Yeah. Just lifted him off the ground and just started. And then I love the way that the raptor scene ends with Hammond being like, "Okay, who's hungry?" And then there's like food on a plate.
And none of them eat it.
Yeah, and they're
It's
all
pretty
looking at
good.
their food. Yeah. But I will say, as a 37-year-old and watching this time around, I appreciated this scene more than I ever have. I would say, like as a 21, 18, 16, 15-year-old watching this movie, I was like, okay, fast forward past this part. Because it was, like it was the boring part of the dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
I appreciated Malcolm in this scene more than I ever have.
Well, it's we go through a brief bit of more boring stuff, and then it is just full accelerating down.
Yeah.
Because now it's time for them to go on the tour. We meet these two children, John Hammond's grandchildren, that are there to experience the park because we're marketing it towards children. We need a child's point of view on something like this. So
Okay, hold up. Before you jump there,
yeah,
I gotta hit a few things. First of all, when we're at the food scene, we get John Hammond. I think for the first time, no, in the trailer, the first time he says "spare no expense,"
spare no expense.
but then when he's at the dinner table, he hits him with "spare no expense" again. A few quotes from that scene that I want to share that I really appreciated on this watch. Genetic force is one of the most powerful forces, and you wielded it like a kid who found his dad's gun. I really thought that was a great quote in that scene. Your scientists were so preoccupied with if they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Love that line.
And what you call discovery, I call the rape of the natural world.
Yeah.
That one kind of jumped past me most of the watchings before this one. I
No,
would say
Ian Malcolm is firing
just
on
goes
all
off.
cylinders. Yeah.
Yeah, just goes off in this scene.
He is so Goldblum gets all the best lines in this movie. I think most of the
And we
best
see a
lines in
lot of
this
the
movie.
classic Goldblum like tongue. Um, uh, tongue.
I think you should be a Goldblum impersonator. You're pretty good at this.
Just man, that tongue to the corner of the mouth is so, classic him. Eventually,
Yeah,
but
I do.
I love that scene, and then the kids show up, and it's great.
And then the kids show up, and that's kind of our as children when we were, I was 5 when this movie came out. You were 7 when this movie came out. This is our way into the movie. Hey, these are the kids. This is what I would be experiencing if I were there watching Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think I'm like Lexi age.
Okay.
I think maybe I've got Napster. So I'm like I'm on Lexi. I'm on Lexi level.
You're a little hacker.
I'm a little.
Not a
I don't know
computer
that
nerd,
I
a
could.
hacker.
We'll talk about that later. I don't think I was on Lexi level, but yeah, I think I was around Lexi age.
Yeah. We see another moment with the introduction of the children that Ellie's trying to force the notion into Alan's head, like, hey, get used to these children. You love kids. You'll love kids, and keeps trying to force them on him. And
I
these
love
are
that
two kids too that are not normal kids. These are smart kids. They're not these idiot kids that we all were. This kid's reading dinosaur books, not that are his book was this thick and the other book was this thick. And then we've got computer hacker Lexi here. So we've got really smart kids. So if he's going to like any kids, it's probably going to be these two.
I love how at the same time that we what they did a really great job of presenting here in my mind was that at the same time that they're loading into the cars with Lexi and Timmy, and you've got what you're talking about going on. It seems like they, even though the scenes after this, it seems like it's going on at the same time that they're like, hey, there's a tropical storm coming in. I'm not sure about. Yeah, just we'll keep an eye on it. While they're loading into the cars to go on this tour for the first time. And I think that kind of stood out to me this time for the first time too, is the way that was like presented as one thing. I think they did a great job of doing that.
But it also shows you like this is where John is a little less likable in the fact that he's like, no, let's go ahead. Like, no matter what, we've got to get this tour on. We've got to get their approval. And it's not so much that he wants the approval as much as he wants other people to like what he's made. And so I think he's just like an excited kid that's like, yeah, look at this. Like,
especially, I think he's most excited about his grandkids, like, as he knows his grandkids are two little dinosaur nerds, you know, that like this was, it's almost like he made this for them. So
yeah, I think it is. Like you said, he doesn't care that, or there's a little bit of worry about the storm, but they're all like, nah, let's go ahead and keep going.
Another thing I would like to point out is that, like, as we are getting informed about the tropical storm for the first time, we get introduced to Samuel L. And I didn't realize it in the past, but because I thought it was only a one-time thing, but we get our first "Hold On to Your Butts" as the tour starts.
Yeah, I only thought he said it once, and in this rewatch we get it twice.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's so much bigger later. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can. So they start the tour. We get the whole scene where they open up the doors. You know, it's another welcome to Jurassic Park moment. What do they keep in there? King Kong, which is a good reference to make because it's about to be a King Kong-like movie. We're about to witness these creatures take over. But as they go on the tour, we get they go to the Dilophosaurus, which is a made-up dinosaur that doesn't exist. And it's no-shows. And then they move to...
Which, stop for a second, like, is everybody's experience at the zoo. Everybody's been to the zoo and went to the cage, to the animal they want to see the most, right? And they're nowhere to be found. So, like, even though we know now it's a made-up dinosaur, especially that guy at that time, like, wanting to see it open up, you're looking like, and you don't see it, and it's like, oh man. Like, I've definitely been to the zoo, and like, you can't see the zebras at all. They're nowhere to be found, or
they're inside right now. Yeah.
The meerkats are all asleep right now, and it's like, oh man, I can only imagine that level of disappointment.
Yeah, and it happens again. They get to the greatest dinosaur of all time,
the ultimate, the dinosaur,
the T-Rex. And they're like, all right, we've got this. We can get the T-Rex to come out. So we're gonna
bring out the goat. Yeah, we're gonna pull out a goat.
And then we get a great line from Alan Grant here that says, T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, it wants to hunt.
Yep, just like my cats.
Which,
man,
yeah, they don't want to be fed.
They're used to getting fed now, but they like to hunt.
Maybe
a bug gets in my house, and they like to hunt, man. They
just like to hunt.
Yeah. Maybe
dinosaurs came from cats and not birds.
Catbirds. Am I a paleontologist? Maybe.
That sounds like the worst thing ever. A catbird.
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 Catbird, man, just like the ultimate disappointment, Cody. I can't even fathom driving away from the T-Rex. Like, I'm at Jurassic Park, driving away from the T-Rex. I get this one chance, and I'm driving away, and no T-Rex. Nothing. Yeah. Oh, bro. I'm so sad.
Not even worth it.
But then this is when we like the pushing the rails up goes to the next level.
Yeah. Because they can get out of the car. They get out of the car. They see this.
Can we just get out of the car?
Dinosaur out there.
I'm gonna get out. Can we just get out of the car? Yeah, let's get out.
I like this scene too because Ian is talking about the chaos theory thing, and he does the whole like, water on the hand thing where the drop goes down her hand and then it goes up. And we get that whole scene here. Just some more flirting from Ian Malcolm and
We get like the greatest, probably the ultimate sense out of the lawyer that we get in the entire movie, where he's like, "Hey, does anybody else feel like we shouldn't be out here?"
yeah.
As we're running into a dinosaur in the wild. Remember when we were in that field and there were a bunch more dinosaur? Like, he's the only one who's like, "Hey, stay in the cars."
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Well, the storms come in and we see that sick Triceratops, which is one of like not a CGI thing. It's a real
on the
real
way
dinosaur.
To the Triceratops, Lexi falls. This is where we get like, man, this is so weird, man. Lexi falls. Grant tries to help her up, and she holds on to his hand. It's weird. That's weird. Every time I've ever seen the movie, I've been like, and there's a few other things like that. I'm gonna point out as we get further into the movie that it's like they shouldn't have done that.
That's weird. I've never noticed that. I didn't watch that closely, I guess.
Oh man, it's like she holds on to his hand, and it's like, is she looking for a father figure? Maybe like it's. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
They get to the Triceratops, and they do all the things that every human would do around a sick Triceratops.
Lay on it, which is what I would want to do. As the thing's breathing, and he's just like, I love that scene. That dinosaur and the puppetry for that is so amazing. Like that dinosaur, I mean, that looks real to me.
It's so good, man. And the grossest tongue, she's like reaching in his tongue. Yeah, it's just got the grossest tongue.
And that's not even the grossest part of the scene. Is the tongue scene? Is Ellie's just like, what is this thing eating? I'll have to look at its shit.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that's what she's like, I need to look at his poop, and then they go back to the mainframe, and they're like, hey man, this storm's getting bad. We gotta cut it short. We're gonna have to cut it short, and we get such a good dumb from Richard Attenborough. Dumb, like just man, that is such a good, like somebody should sample that for sure.
Dumb.
Dumb.
Droppings, dino droppings. That's a
dino droppings.
You're Jeff Goldblum. That's
and then back to the giant piles of shit, and we get Goldblum saying, that's one big pile of shit.
Yeah.
But why? Like, I think this is when he's getting challenged on his attraction to Ellie, because she's like elbow deep in the shit while he's like, shit.
Yeah, and she's one thing that I noticed this time around when watching that, I was so she anytime she takes off the glove, and usually you take that other glove to get the other glove off, but she did not do that. She used her bare hand.
And then on top of that,
take off that glove.
On top of that, there's like lightning and shit and thunder and going on. And she's like, I know we're in the middle of nowhere. Like we already talked about, unidentified island off of Costa Rica in the jungle with dinosaurs, and a storm is clearly about to happen. But hey, I'm gonna stick behind and figure out what's in this dinosaur shit.
Which we do find out about. I can go ahead and give you a fun fact about this. So there's nothing there. I think this happens in the books, but anyway, this is the explanation of why the Triceratops is sick. So the Triceratops lacks suitable teeth for grinding food, and so, like birds, swallows rocks and uses them as gizzard stones. In the digestive tract, these rocks grind the food to aid in digestion. After 6 weeks, the rocks would become too smooth to be useful, and then the animal regurgitates them. When finding and eating new rocks to use, the animal would also swallow those West Indian lilac berries that they're not supposed to eat. And the fact that the berries and stones are regurgitated explains why Ellie doesn't find traces of them in the animal's droppings.
Whoa. You're a genius.
I'm not a genius. That somebody else came up with that.
I mean, I don't know where you found that, but it sounds so good.
Yeah. But that's the reason that we'll never get. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, I really need to follow up on this Triceratops guy. But that's what was happening.
She stays behind, which is just absurd. The rest of them, they get back in the cars. She stays behind, and with this, there's a guy. He doesn't say anything, but he's wearing aviators.
He's got his Jeep.
And he's got a Jeep and a Jurassic Park hat, and she just is like, I'm gonna stick back with this guy.
And where does that guy go for the rest of the movie?
I think he catches the boat. He's out.
The boat with everybody else?
Smart. Yeah. He's like, he's like, I'm taking you back and I'm getting on the boat before, I don't know. But yeah, he did no more of him. We get no more of him. But that's when we get back to the main. We do go back to the mainframe, and that's when we find out that Dennis is up to no good.
Yeah. So this is the whole scene where Nedry's like, very suspiciously, but he's like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. Do you guys want anything? And he sets up his little virus. Yeah, he's so sweaty.
He's so he does it so well. He just I've been eating sweet and now I want something salty, so I was gonna ask you guys. It just
and this is where he puts his little virus in action to keep or shut down the fences or shut down the power.
He's like, man, you gotta give me 15 minutes. You gotta give me so he doesn't have his 18 minutes anymore. He's got 15 minutes to
the boat's
put
leaving.
It all into. He's gone, and he's going to get the embryos.
Put them in that Barbasol can.
Oh yeah, put them in.
If there's one prop from this movie that I would love to have, it's probably that Barbasol can.
Oh yeah.
Hands down. Okay, so this happened. Nedry leaves, and after getting all this stuff, the storm is there. It's full force. The fences are shut down, and everybody is stopped at the T-Rex pen or cage or whatever you want to say.
Oh yeah.
And this is where the movie takes off.
Oh yeah, and they yeah. Yeah, I think even before the T-Rex scene, though, we get the you didn't say the magic word. You didn't say the magic word. I think they realize Dennis is up to it's Dennis, right?
Dennis Nedry, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis, he's up to no good. They realize, and Sam L goes over to his workstation and is like, how do you work here? What a slot. And just wipes all this shit off of his station. Tries to crack get in there. And it's like, you didn't say the magic word. And the thing I noticed this time especially is, man, Sam L is smoking the filter. Like the close-up of him smoking a cigarette, that man is smoking it. And then they show him hitting it again. And it looked, man, I think he was really burning them, from watching it. Yeah.
It's the 90s. They weren't using herbal cigarettes at that point.
Yeah. And then we get the scene. And I was telling you earlier, and this is something I guess we can talk about later. I was hoping to have my wife's Lego version of this scene that's going on a shelf behind me. Today I just forgot it, but man, this is like the scene, right?
You dropped the ball. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so we get the scene. We get the this is the iconic water vibration scene which is created um, with effects by a guitar string.
Yeah.
Somebody creates that by flicking a guitar string underneath, and it makes the water do that. But it's supposed to be the stomps of the T-Rex getting closer.
Yeah. Another thing that I saw that was that he added the Spielberg decided to use the rain kind of at the last minute to amplify this scene, and the people who created the animatronics did not create the T-Rex to be waterproof. So they had to stop a lot and like towel off the the animatronics because they would like stutter. I saw some pretty funny video of the T-Rex's like mouth and stuff stuttering and stuff because it was not created to be in the rain like it was. And there was even some concern about them using it to crush the car and stuff because they weren't planning on the weight of the water to be on the car. And in the anime, and the
I don't know if you
foam
can,
of the T-Rex.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's the exact scene that we're talking about right now is going on right behind me.
I mean,
I just saw where he
the
shuts the
scene,
door. The scene, yeah.
the biggest scene.
A lot of things happen in this scene. Like, we get the what is it? The night vision goggles during this scene before any of the bad starts to happen.
So Timmy finds the night vision goggles and he's looking for the goat, right?
Yeah.
And the chain's just swinging.
I especially hate the lawyer in the scene where he's like, "Are those heavy?" And Tim goes, "Yeah." He's like, "Then they're probably expensive. Put it back." I was like, "God, this freaking guy."
What a lawyer thing to say.
What a lawyer thing to think. I hope he dies in the next 5 minutes, which he does.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and once they see that the goat is not there anymore, the snapping of the fence starts happening. You hear all these wires start coming off. The T-Rex is coming out of the cage, and he's doing just fine.
Is the wind like I think as I was watching it like most of my life is like I thought the like wind was blowing him off. Is the T-Rex like knocking him off?
No, the T-Rex is knocking them off. You see his little T-Rex hand at one point like snapping them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the T-Rex ends up getting out. The lawyer, I think at this point, sees
Bails.
it and jets.
Yeah. He runs to the like tiki hut bathroom close by.
Yeah, which is if they're not supposed to leave the cars, why is there a bathroom over there? I don't know. That's
and he's also like Jeff Goldblum's like when you gotta go, you gotta go. You know, like I think there was a long time in my life where I was like, was he gonna poop his pants or was he gonna pee his pants? I think on this watch, I looked as close as I've ever watched, and like he full on has his shorts on still while he's on the toilet.
Yeah, okay. I was actually going to ask you about this because for the longest time, I thought he had his pants down. And
I thought he had to poop or something, right?
But no,
like,
he's just
he
wearing shorts.
He was so scared he was going to poop or pee his pants. Like that made total sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I think he was just hiding.
Yeah, he's just hiding, and he has his shorts on.
Right? What a poo-poo.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah,
that guy sucks.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
But anyway, the T-Rex comes out and attacks the children's car, which is just again that's where the lawyer came from, and he flips it, right? It's insane.
Yeah,
scene.
Totally flips it. Totally flips it. And to me, like the craziest scene, I don't want to pull my headphones out, is like they're like holding the glass up and they're like, oh my God. And the T-Rex is like biting down on them. Man, that scene that's great. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene that I caught my eye in the background there was when the door is open and the T-Rex is right outside, and the T-Rex is just looking straight forward, and then he shuts that door and then the T-Rex's head just goes whoop.
Yeah,
Like,
Lex really sets things off from the get-go by turning the flashlight on, right? And like waving. I feel like that he's going for the other car where Malcolm and Grant are. And Lex turns on the flashlight from the get-go, and it's like, doofus, not right now. Like, not right now, kiddo. But you get that great shot of her like shining the flashlight right at the perfect circle of the T-Rex's eye,
where the pupil dilate, or
oh man, it's so good. And then he starts mangling the car, and that's when they're fighting, and then they end up underneath, and he's like stepping on it. And one of the things that's always stood out to me was like all of a sudden there's like this soup of mud going on, and that always, I was like, oh, it just got a lot worse, like not only are they about to get stepped on by a T-Rex, like there's this mudslide happening now as well. So whoever created Jurassic Park did not like do a good job planning for like apparently just a decent tropical storm.
Yeah. The tracks that they're on appear like they would be just like sinking into the earth.
I think if the T-Rex didn't get out, maybe they would have been screwed still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
by the mudslide.
It's just quicksand over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as the kids are getting crushed in this car, they find flares. Grant and Malcolm find flares, and
Grant's got it. Like I feel like if I'm Malcolm, right? If I'm Malcolm in this situation, I'm like, he knows dinosaurs. He knows them. I'm gonna let him get out of the car and wave the flare. But man, Malcolm really fucks things up because he don't know nothing about the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
He thinks he can run with the flare and throw it and keep running, and that the T-Rex is not going to follow him. But luckily follows him to the Tiki Hut bathroom, where the T-Rex just kind of flings him and hurts him, and just reveals to the T-Rex the lawyer.
The not going to the bathroom lawyer.
The full shorts up to the waist lawyer.
Exactly.
Not pooping, not peeing, lawyer, just hiding. Just hiding.
And he gets eaten.
Man, that's the first like nasty one we get, right? Like that's like that one stood out to me the first time I saw it, whenever I was 15, 16 years old. Like that T-Rex coming down on him on the toilet and kind of like slinging him around. It's pretty gnarly for that age.
While that's all happening, while this guy's getting eaten and everything, Grant gets Lexi out of the car, and he's working on getting Tim out, but Tim's stuck. And all of a sudden, Lexi starts screaming because the T-Rex is right there. And this is the first time we get like
things up.
We get some dino rules here. He covers her mouth and he's like, "Don't move. The T-Rex can't see you if you don't move," which is not true either. But I've always thought that, like, I say that in everyday life. I'm like, "Don't move. I can't see if you don't move."
Are there any animals, like, we'll throw this to the chat maybe. Are there any animals that won't attack you if you don't move?
I wish I knew any of that, because a lot of the dinosaur behavior that they talk about in this is all based on real. Yeah, they base it on real animal behavior.
Yeah. So help us out, chat.
Help us out. Get that information here.
What is that based off? Is it like, because that's, I know there's one of the bears, right? Like that you're supposed.
Gosh.
Because there's one you're supposed to stand your ground and like be big, and then I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what animal it is, but yeah, no. I think it is true what they said about the T-Rex. Like they don't have good vision if you're not moving, but T-Rexes have incredible smell. And so if
Yeah,
they
you're
already
gonna
knew what they were going for, you would have been like they would have been able to smell you.
and you're gonna be sweating if you're running from a T-Rex, man. They're gonna be able to smell you so good.
Yeah. And if you're Nedry, you're just sweating all over the place.
Oh yeah, because you've been eating Butterfingers.
Butterfingers.
Butterfingers. A
Butterfingers.
grizzly bear will attack you less if you don't move, says the chat. So
Okay.
I don't think there's getting any attacked less by a T-Rex though. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I know if you run
I
in
don't think-
zigzags, you can avoid alligators that way.
Or that's the way like zebras avoid cheetahs, right? Is they just run in zigzags.
I think they run in zigzags, yeah, because
Yeah.
that affects a cheetah's top speed. I think.
Yeah, but let's see, Grant and Lexi and Timmy, they get over the railing and that's when they're swinging, and man, like they swing over and the car comes up. This is the first time the car is the problem. Again, no, second time the car is the problem. They're trapped in the car first. Then the car comes over the railing. They barely swing out of the way. And Lex and Grant make it to the bottom. Tim's still in the car.
Tim's in the car. He's stuck in the tree, and Alan Grant climbs up there and finds Tim trapped in the tree.
Whoa.
I mean, we gotta go. We gotta.
I know, but we don't go there yet. It zooms back to Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Like once they're at the bottom, then it goes back to Dennis, and Dennis driving to the dock.
So go ahead, talk about it.
Oh, my bad. He is driving to the dock. He drives into the Dilophosaurus cage and loses the shaving cream canister. He loses his glasses. The Dilophosaurus sprays him in the face and kills him in his car. And then they go back to the car, Tim being in the car.
So we get that Dilophosaurus scene. He spits, like, this is the first time we see this fake dinosaur. It has like the frilly thing around its head. It's like jumping around the place. It's making these like weird noises. I think that where did I read that it was like goose noises or swan noises or something like that they used for this animal. And it is like a very curious thing that keeps messing with Nedry, and he keeps calling it a dumb animal and all this stuff. It's kind of like a little comical scene. Like even when he falls down the cliff or falls down that little hill, there's like a whistle sound or something when he slips. It's like a circus thing.
Yeah, he throws a stick for him
see
and
the
calls
stick?
him
See
dumb.
the stick, stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won't, that's why you're extinct. You know, like he's definitely insulting him a lot before he kills him.
I plot hole here. How does the animal get in the Jeep? How does he get in that Jeep?
I guess they're just as smart as a raptor and just like opens it up and is waiting for him when he gets back in there.
We just got dinosaurs just opening doors all over the place.
Man, they were smart.
And just
It's
getting
so
in these
smart. Yeah, apparently they've just been getting indoors.
And I think that that's stuff that they talk about in like the sequels or like further in the book, and I definitely in the Jurassic World series that they keep like genetically modifying these animals to make them smarter and better than they are supposed to be. Which is we see in here with all these animals that can open doors and are way smarter than normal animals would react in these situations. But that stuff that he gets on his face, that like acid or whatever, it's like a goop, but it blinds Nedry and he doesn't see any of this stuff happening. He's already lost his glasses. Basically, he gets what's coming to him in that Dilophosaurus scene.
He loses the shaving cream. I always thought when I first watched this movie, when he loses the shaving cream and it gets kind of buried in the mudslide-esque thing that's going on, it seems, on the whole island. That was going to be like a part of the follow-up to this whole thing. Is
Same.
that can of
It's
Barbasol, somebody eventually was going to find that and be like, I can make dinosaurs out of this.
Yeah. No, my
It-
sister, because I remember watching that when I was a child, and my sister, my oldest sister, telling me, like, oh, that's going to be for the sequel.
yeah,
Somebody's got to find that can.
it's the way they shot it and everything. It just felt like, ooh, this is important right here, right? Like the
Yeah.
way it got covered up. I feel like the way that mud slides over that Barbasol can is the same sludge they used for like Timmy in the bottom of that car. It's just like this
Mm-hmm.
nasty mudslide.
It's like chocolate syrup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we go back to Lex and Grant for sure, at the bottom of the where they got away from the T-Rex, and Timmy's up in the car, and Grant climbs up to help Timmy down, tells Lex to stay down low, and goes up. And I love how Timmy's like, I threw up.
I threw up. I had that written
He's-
down.
He's so
I threw up.
ashamed that he, like, after all this crazy shit that's happened, Timmy's like, I am so ashamed that he threw up after being attacked by a T-Rex.
Mhm. And this is the first instance, well, besides like Grant like protecting the kids and everything, this is the first kind of like fatherly thing that we get
Yeah.
Grant doing. He's like, hey, you ever had a tree house and climbed down and everything? He's like, no. Well, it's just like that. And so they make their way down the tree, but as they're doing this, the branches are snapping from the weight of the car and must go faster. I know that's not this scene, but
Must go faster, must go
they have to
faster.
climb down that. They have to climb down that tree pretty quickly, even though I don't know. I feel like they could have avoided it, but
There's a really great shot in
ends
this
up-
scene,
they-
in my opinion, where the car is coming down after them, and Alan Grant ducks, and a branch stops the car. Man, that shot is so good. That's like
Yes.
this time around, that shot stood out to me.
yeah. And then they finally make it to the bottom of the. It's just like they're rushing to beat the car to the bottom, and then they make it to the bottom, and the car ends up getting on top of them anyway. And Tim
Yeah.
gets that good line of like, "We're back in the car" or whatever it was.
We're back in the car again.
Again.
And Grant is like, at least we're out of the tree.
That's right.
And this is where we get
This is,
Raptor Guy and Ellie showing up to look for them, because Hammond has sent them out to get his grandkids, and they show up to look for them. It's like a massacre. The fence is broken. One of the cars is flipped over and stomped on. The Tiki Hut bathroom is destroyed. And they go over to the Tiki Hut bathroom, and I think they initially find pieces of the lawyer, and then they
I didn't
find,
catch that until this time.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I think this is the lawyer guy.
Gennaro or
yeah,
whatever.
and
Yeah.
they're both looking at pieces of him, and then they hear Malcolm grunting in the wreckage, and pick him up, and that's when they load him up and have to run off from the T-Rex coming back.
Oh yeah, this is the must go faster scene. This is the
Yeah.
scene where they put him up. You can hear the T-Rex roaring in the background.
We get another rumble, like in the T-Rex footprint, we get the rumble of the water again.
And Ian has some good line there. That's not the must go faster thing. Oh, they said we shouldn't move him, and he's like, "Yes, move me." He's like,
No, what he says, should we chance moving him? and he's like, "Please chance it" or something
Chance
like
it.
that.
Please
Chance
chance
it,
it.
please
Yes,
chance
that's
it,
what it
please
is.
chance it,
Please chance it.
please chance it,
I
because she talks
I
about him
love
like
that.
he's not there for a second.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the running away from the T-Rex scene in the Jeep, and the Jeep gets like cut off, gets its head cut off by a
Crazy
fallen
scene, yeah.
tree or whatever. And very intense. We get the objects in the mirror are closer than they appear thing. I love that. I
I've
always
thought
thought that was
about
so
that
cool
my
when I was a
whole
kid.
life, right? Yeah, I've thought
Yes,
after I saw that, I've thought about, and when I see stuff in my rearview mirror, I think about that scene so much.
we're prepared if T-Rexes are ever chasing us.
Oh, I know they're gonna be so close.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna be so close. They may appear closer
Man,
than
after
they may appear.
after driving in Nashville, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're ready for T-Rexes?
I'm ready for T-Rexes.
So they get away with Malcolm, everything. They get back to the place, and I think this is where we get Arnold has to restart the system, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We get first we get them climbing up into the tree, and this is where we get the Vegisaurus. No, we may not get to
Vegisaurus, yeah.
Vegisaurus yet, but we they climb up in the tree, and they're seeing, man, this is where I think this time around for me, I was like, wow, for 90s CGI, great job. Like those
Yeah.
brontosauruses in the distance with the sunset when they first climb up in a tree is like, I mean, for the 93, are you kidding me? Great. Especially, and we can talk about this maybe more at the end, like just groundbreaking CGI for sure.
Oh yeah. This is a scene too where we get more Alan being a father figure to these two and kind of explaining what those dinosaurs are. And then he also pulls out his he's like sitting on his keys kind of thing, but it's the raptor claw that he keeps on him. Which this is a dumb kid moment for me as a child, because when he drops the raptor claw, I thought that raptors got their claw back by him doing, like, they picked it up and were like, oh, I'm gonna use this, and we see it later in the movie. Again, a very dumb kid not understanding how stories work.
One more thing we get before
are.
a couple things we get before we shut down the system is we get the flea circus bit from Hammond, where he's eating ice cream with Ellie, and we get another spared no expense because the ice cream's so good. But Hammond kind of talks about a flea circus that he grew up seeing and wanting to create something that people could actually see and feel and touch. Like, and I would say more than ever, this scene stood out to me as like really endearing and kind of explained why Hammond was doing the things he was doing more than any other scene.
Yeah. Again, much more sympathetic character than what he is portrayed in the book, or what you would expect from somebody like this. So I really like what Richard Attenborough does with the John Hammond character. I love that character.
And then we go back to the tree again one more time. That's when we get the Vegisaurus. They're like, the Brontosaurus is waking them up from, like, man, to talk about a tough night of sleep is falling asleep in a tree in Jurassic Park, right? And you wake up to a Brontosaurus, like, oh, hey, what, you're like eating around me,
right next to you. Yeah.
That's when we get, it's Vegisaurus, Lex, like, and then, but unfortunately, this Brontosaurus, like, a scene that I gotta just mention is like it's sneezing right in her face. Oh yeah,
it's so good.
Right? It's so good. Like that scene.
I love it. I love it. I feel like they are so good at being siblings during this scene. Like, you see it a lot. throughout the movie. They're so good. But after she gets sneezed on, I just love when Tim is like, "God bless you."
God bless you. Yeah, it's oh man.
Just like the
But
back and
that's
forth that
when,
they have between siblings.
yeah, that's when we're back to the main frame though, and Samuel L. and Hammond are kind of getting into it, right? Because Hammond's like, the only way we can undo all this stuff that Dennis did, is to shut down the whole system. And Samuel L. Ray's like, you're gonna have to get somebody else. I won't do it. But he ends up doing it, right? He ends up shutting down the whole system, and that's where we get hold on to your butts
Hold
again.
on. We get the second hold on to your butts.
The more iconic hold on to your butts, for sure.
Yeah, that's the one that I remember. I don't remember the other one.
For sure.
But yeah, so basically they restart the system and all now, but they restart the system or reboot the system, but then they have to also restart it again by going to a separate.
It comes up, it says
Box?
system ready, and Ray's like, we're good. Samuel L. Man, he's like, we're good. I just got to run down to the other end of the complex and hit the circuit. You know, it's like when the breaker flips at you were my place, and like the breaker flips, it's like, oh, I just got to run out to the garage and flip the breaker. That's the way he makes it seem, right? It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But Ray don't know the Velociraptors is out. He don't know that they're all over the place now. They can open doors, they can be inside, they can burst through pipes. The Velociraptors can do anything that all the other dinosaurs can't do. And Ray doesn't realize that, so he heads to the other end of the complex to just flip the breaker. But while he's going to do that, we go back to Grant and the kids, right? And they're walking through this giant Jurassic Park field where they see Gallimimus, which
Gallimimus, yeah.
I was seeing something online that said that this kind of scene with the Gallimimus running in CGI was one of the main sellers of why Spielberg and like the whole movie, they kind of shifted from stop animation and what animatronics to CGI, is because I saw a video of like Gallimimus skeleton running through scenes in Hawaii that was like sent to Spielberg on VHS, and he saw it and was like, this is the future, and it was like, we've got to do this. So this is such an iconic scene, this Gallimimus scene, where they see them running in herds, right?
And it's so impressive too. You talk about the CGI in this too, and I want to like, it's cool to see them like in a herd running and everything, and the T-Rex eventually comes out and like they're running
so
from something.
chill at
but
first.
like, but when they like get behind the log specifically, and like you see the log move when the Gallimimus hit, like that's all
Cody,
CG. And then
Cody, why are they so chill at first? That whole herd, it would be like, even for you and I, if a whole like a stampede of cow were like running nearby, we'd be like, yo, we gotta get out the way. Her you know, we would go. They're in a field in Jurassic Park. Gallimimus are running nearby, and they're like, oh, look at them, and all of a sudden they start coming at them, right? And they run and they get behind the log. And yeah, talk about an iconic scene when they're like behind the log, and all of them are jumping off the log and running by him.
Yeah, it's a. I remember seeing like a behind the scenes thing of this when I was a child, and still being, like the visual effects of this movie at the time were just mind blowing, like incredible.
Even right now, if you and I had to sit down and create something like that, even with AI available, like it would be extremely difficult, right? Like to create something so accurate to what our imagination might, it's so well done. So well done. That Gallimimus scene is
absolutely
So good. And then the way the T-Rex
And
comes in and is like, time to eat.
and then we get this scene after this of, and it goes back and forth. So like we get them Ellie being like, we have to go. It's been too long. He's been gone too long. And then the Raptor guy's like, all right, well, if you're going, then I'm coming with you. And then we get this, it's like back and forth between this, like them going to the hut or whatever to turn the power back on, and Alan and the kids coming up to this electric fence scene.
Yeah, they're like,
two very
"Where's Ray?"
tense scenes.
You know, they're like, "Come on, Ray! Like, Ray's been gone a long time. Like, clearly he's not okay." But man, one last thing about the Gallimimus scene that I love the way that Timmy like stays over the log and he's like, "Look how much blood." Because if there's anything that is defining of my wife and how much she loves nature and like animals and that kind of like, she is that person that would be like over the log, like, look how much blood. uh, so yeah, and then we get them getting up to this electric fence, right? Everything's been shut down, and they know that the T-Rex got out. That's the main thing that they've seen is the T-Rex like didn't get shocked by this thing. So they're coming up to this fence and they're like, should be good, right? Should be good, but we're not sure.
Should be good. And then at the same time, we've got Ellie and Raptor Guy leaving the facility to go to the other one. He sees that the Raptor cage is like they're out. He knows that they're out.
And that's bad news. That's the worst news.
That's bad news. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they make it. It's like you can see the other place, so it's not a very far walk to this other
do you think
facility.
that like that was the same route or like the same way Samuel L. went? He was just like walking outside. Oh
Yeah.
man, I can't believe he made it.
See, but I don't know if they know that the Raptor, because at first, whenever Nedry shut down everything, the Raptor fence was still up. And I think when he shut down the system, it shut the Raptor fence off when Ray did that. I think it shut it off, and they just slipped their mind that that was going to happen.
I can't believe Ray made it inside. I can't believe Ray made it as far as he did.
Yeah. There's supposed to be more of that scene with Ray. Like there's supposed to be a scene where we find it out that how Ray dies, but
which is something I want to talk about very soon.
Yeah. So we learn that these raptors are hunting Ellie and the Raptor guy, and he's like, "You need to go make a run for it. I'll stay, and because I see the one, I've got my eyes on it. You go make a run for it." And she runs for it and makes it to the facility, and she makes it there. And
we get the flash to the back to the electric fence, right, where Grant is. Grant is like, okay, we got to test it out. I think that's what we get the chat. I have it written down too. Mm-hmm. I love the fake out on the.
That's such a dad thing to do too.
The kids lose it when he acts like he gets electrocuted. It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we got Ellie and the Raptor guy splitting up because they see a Raptor, right? They see a Raptor, and the Raptor guy's like, I got my gun. I'll take care of him. Run. And this is another thing that bothers me is when Ellie turns around to run right here, she runs right into a tree and she slaps it. And it's like, for what? And that's not real.
Is this when she gets her is this when she gets injured?
No. It's long before that. And I think what you're saying got like cut or it's deleted scenes. That's something else I have written down is like eventually here, maybe we'll talk about it soon. She's going to be injured, but I don't think it's here. She just like as soon as her and Raptor guy decide to go, like, all right, we're gonna go separate ways. She turns and like, I mean, like as soon as she turns, she's at a tree and like runs into it, and she's like, ugh, and slaps it, and then hops over it, and then she runs through the obstacle course of like, swing, hurdle, swing, hurdle, like, like Fusion Frenzy.
Oh yeah. Is it when she? Is it when she? Is this when she when she makes it to the facility? Is this when she like slams the door and goes?
No, that's it. So she goes in.
That's
She
the
goes
other
in.
one. That's the other way.
Yeah, she goes in. Yeah, this. She goes in.
I don't know if
and
it's a
she's-
laugh or what.
Yeah, she's on the walkie-talkie with Hammond and Malcolm, and she gets guided to this master circuit breaker, and she's cutting everything on while the gang over here is climbing the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, we get these again. What they do a really good job is like these scenes that are following each other, but they do a good job of presenting them like they're happening at parallel, right? I think they do a really good job of making that happen. So while she's cutting things on, they're like, all right, Timmy, go ahead and jump down because it seems like the fence is cutting on. And that's gonna kill you.
Yeah. 10,000 volts. I was terrified of all electron. I mean, you should be terrified of an electric fence, but I don't know why 10,000 volts is terrifying.
I'm lucky my dryer didn't kill me the other day. So it shocked me, and I was like, whoa, that could have been worse. So 10,000 volts. Yeah, they're like,
Just think
Timmy,
about
come on
Timmy.
down. Come on down. 3, 2, and like as she's cutting things on, everything's on now. And this is when shit just goes haywire for both sides, right? Because
Yeah.
she's like, I got everything turned on. Mr. Arnold, we're back in business. Like whatever she's saying. Velociraptor comes through the pipes. And Timmy gets blasted off the fence. Yeah. Timmy gets blasted off the fence at the same time. So they're trying to get Timmy up on one side of this thing. And then on the other side, Ellie's running from raptors. For a second, she gets on like a side of a chain link gate, and an arm comes down. And she's like, oh, Mr. Arnold. It come to find out it's just his loose arm. He made it to the building.
Yeah.
But they've just been
We don't know where
playing
the
with
rest
his
of
body
them is.
ever since then. They've been playing with a much more light-skinned hand since then. Yeah, it's not Samuel L's hand. That's a whole nother. I don't know who they killed. That's not Mr. Arnold's hand. But yeah, somewhere along here, I was looking at this like a little bit closer earlier. I was like rewinding and fast forwarding. Like I was looking at it pretty close, and there's not any clear clear indication of how Ellie gets hurt here, but she like clearly hurts a foot. My best guess, my theory, I don't know, I'd be interested what your theory is. My best theory is that like she got like that Alan Grant raptor claw to the foot while she was like up against the chain link gate.
That's a good. That's yeah. That's a. I just assumed that she just twisted it during when she was running or whatever. But I like yours way better.
I bet you don't run a whole lot as a paleobotanist.
Yeah, paleobotanist. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you don't run a lot. And I mean, she's pretty. Well, yeah, that's something else we got to talk about soon. Is her and running. But anyway. Yeah, she makes it out. She gets away, and she gets on on the other side of a chain link gate, and it's not even closed all the way. And she's like, "I'm safe now."
Yeah.
Like what made you think this chain link gate was any safer than that past chain link gate? silly.
And then we
but
get to see
scary.
the raptor guy, right? After she finally gets a little bit safe, we get the raptor guy and see what he's up to.
Clever girl. This is where we get the
Clever girl.
iconic clever girl. What's
Yeah.
odd about this scene, this watch, is that like he should know. Like he told him like what the Raptors were doing. He was the one that was like, "Hey, they're smart enough to do A, B, C, D like before." That I feel like he should know what Grant knew when he was telling the kid about getting attacked. Where like they're gonna be like, "Hey, over here," and get you from the side.
Oh yeah, flank him.
So yeah, like if he got like that, it's not necessarily clever girl. It's like, bro, come on, man, you should have known they were gonna come from the side. But yeah, that I think this is where we get the most brutal death in the entire movie because there's only like one leaf hanging over as this raptor's eating this guy's face. And so, like, it kind of amazes me that it stayed PG-13 for as brutal as that death is, because it goes on
think
for
they
I would
didn't-
say like a full 5 seconds that he's screaming while that Velociraptor's eating him.
I think the lack of blood in this movie is what probably
That's what
keeps
does it, right? Like, I guess they like
Yeah.
maybe skirted the lines by keeping a lot of blood not from like splashing there.
Yeah. So he gets killed, and then
We got the kids.
Timmy gets
post 10,000 volts, and Grant and Lex showing up back to the main facility, and walking into a very Spielberg did Hook, right?
Yes.
So I think we're talking about two of the greatest food scenes in any movies. Is like Hook when they're talking about their imagination and like the food, and then when those kids walk into that dining hall and there's just all this food, and he just picks up the like pie scoops and is like, "Oh yeah, time to throw down."
Yeah, they just go into it. I love that.
Grant kind of disappears, and the kids are like, "Time to eat."
Yeah, he goes looking for Ellie, I believe, and finds her outside as the kids are all eating at the table. And you see the Jello on Lex's
Man,
thing.
the way
I love that
Ellie, she's like, I guess like on all fours climbing up a hill for no reason
Yeah.
at the beginning of the scene. It's
She's
just all
exhausted,
fours,
man.
but freshly showered at this point. But
Oh yeah, she's
on
not
all
as gross
fours
as she
climbing-
was.
Yeah, but change of clothes and freshly showered, like wet hair still, climbing up a hill, sees Grant, who's calling for her, and the first thing out of her mouth is, "Run."
Run.
What?
Yeah, she's very. I still love her in this. I think she's doing a great
she's
job.
been traumatized, bro. She's been traumatized.
Oh yeah.
And she gets. I mean, she just
and at
dealt
that
with a T-Rex. She gets a little grace, right?
Yeah. So we get the run scene, and then it cuts back to Lex and Tim eating in the food in the cafeteria, and we
That's
get the
where we
Jello
get the-
scene where they're just like eating it, and she
And the
picks up this green
perfect-
Jello.
And the perfect raptor matching with the drawing of the raptor on the wall,
Yeah,
right?
that shadow,
good.
that silhouette, it's so good.
Oh, so good.
Um,
And then
and
we
so
get
Lex and Tim
another
run.
one of the best
and
scenes.
I think this is my favorite scene of the whole movie.
One
is
of
the
the best
kitchen
scenes
scene.
for sure.
Where the raptors two raptors go after Lex and Tim and make their way into the kitchen, and they're like crawling around trying to get into go around all these cabinets, trying not to make noises. The raptor's claws ticking on the floor.
I love the raptor's breath on the like kitchen window. The way it blows, it's like man, that really scared the shit out of me. the first time. I was like, that's scary. That's real scary.
That's how I always felt whenever I was we were wearing masks a lot more during the the pandemic and everything. I always said
Yeah.
that I was it reminded me of being a raptor.
Like blowing it into your glasses.
Blowing
Same.
on my glasses, yeah.
He does it again. The raptor does it again. He knows it's scary, bro. He does it again later at the door. He's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm here." He knows that, this is gonna scare humans.
Yeah.
So he
We get
does
the
it
raptor
again later.
calling his buddy too.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, over here."
Dunk,
They're in the
dunk,
kitchen.
dunk.
Yeah, they're in the kitchen. And we get the great, like, man, what a great kitchen scene. So tense, them crawling around, crawling in the oven, faking him out. Like he runs into and they make it out of the kitchen. Timmy takes one into the freezer, locks him in there, but then they make it, away. And that's where we get like the raptor at the door again, blowing smoke at Grant, trying to close the door on the raptor. It's just, man, these raptors are relentless.
Yeah, I love in that we glanced over it, but like when Lex is in that oven trying to close the door, like, and he like the reflection. I love that that it's the reflection and that the.
I mean, is there any
raptor
better
falls for it.
kid acting than that right there? I mean, she looks terrified.
Yeah,
I would say the same thing. There was another scene.
They're good.
Another scene that jumped out with me with Ellie when the raptor first there's a scene where the raptor comes at her when she's in that building turning on the circuit breaker, where she jumps back and she looks so scared, and like it almost sounds like she says "God damn," but it comes across so real because she's like like she just kind of makes noises. And man, the kids and the actors did such a good job of being like looking really scared. I don't know what they did to them, but they look really scared.
That's just That's the magic of acting.
Magic of acting.
And then they finally meet up with them. Ellie and Alan meet up with the kids. They get out of
Lex
the kitchen,
makes
kind
it
of
to the
thing.
computer.
The raptors are still chained. Lex uses all of her computer hacker talents that she established earlier in the movie to turn the systems back on, lock the doors.
She's like, I've been playing Sims. I know how this works.
This is a Unix system. It's not a Unix system, by the way. This is a Unix system. I know this.
Yeah. I've been playing solitaire on a PC. I know how this works.
But then the raptors don't need to use the doors anymore because they're big, freaking giant animals that can just crash through the windows and chase after them. So they go all John McClane into the ceiling tiles, which we get another scary scene where it's very alien.
One thing there that I thought was really cool was like I asked, I was like, why would he drop the gun, Cody? Like, are they bulletproof? Wrong, right?
I think.
And my wife was Natalia was like, he didn't want to shoot him. That I thought that was a really good point. That like he didn't, like I know he's chasing them down, right? Like that, but like he didn't want to. It kind of like I think in the future movies, like they don't want to harm them. Like even though they're after them and trying to kill them, like Blue in the future movies, like they don't. Because he's still in that somewhat phase of like, I'm being chased by a raptor. I don't want to shoot it with a shotgun. I'm just going to climb into the vents. And so he leaves.
See, I just assumed that he was either out of bullets or he couldn't risk, like he just dropped it on accident.
There's a full shotgun shell still in that gun when he drops it.
Yeah. I just assumed he dropped it because the raptors are freaking fast.
Yeah. Right. I gotta get on this ladder and get in the vents.
I like that interpretation though of like him being so appreciative of an animal that he doesn't want to kill it. But
I thought the same thing.
But I'm still like, if it's me or that thing, I'm gonna kill it. I don't care how much I love an animal.
Man, we get really cool scenes here too with them in the vents, where with the raptor lifting Lex out of the
Mm-hmm.
vent, and then her kind of falling, and the raptor jumping up while she's hanging up. We get some really cool shots
Yeah.
here for sure.
Yeah, I love that. It's like like I was saying, it's very reminiscent of Alien, in the vent scene in Alien. It's also John McClane with Die Hard. They're up there, so you get a lot of
And then we
action
get
moments
right
here.
after that, we get Every Kid's Dream, where they're climbing around on fossils. Like every kid who went to a
I don't know.
museum just wanted to climb up onto that
Hmm.
T-Rex, right?
Yeah, but and the Raptors just follow them and like jump on them and make them all fall. It's over at that point. Like, if
Yeah.
the Raptors are jumping on that stuff and I'm my only choice is to fall, and like I'm done. Like,
I
it's
mean,
over.
like, yeah, that like they're breaking the like the fossils that they had hanging apart. You're now on the ground surrounded by raptors, and it's like, well, yeah, this is over with. But you know what? If Ninja T-Rex happens to be around, you're good.
Just
Because
yeah,
the entire movie we've talked about and seen visually how when this T-Rex takes a step, it's going to shake the ground. But at this moment, he comes out of nowhere. I watched
he's
it
quiet.
over and over again, and there's not a sign of this T-Rex until he's like, "What's up, Raptor?" Hum.
This
And
also
just
create the other raptor jumps on his back, and this also creates one of my favorite toys from this time. I never had this toy, but there was a T-Rex toy from Jurassic Park, and it included a piece of like flesh that would come off of it based on this scene alone. I was always jealous of kids that had that toy because I really wanted it. And I'm not addressing that in chat. Not addressing that
um,
in chat.
but this is when we get the great ending scene, right? Where the T-Rex grabs the second raptor, tosses him into the fossils of a T-Rex,
Mm-hmm.
roars, and a banner
Oh
falls
yeah,
that says, "When dinosaurs ruled the earth."
I love it. I love it so
Oh
much.
man, Spielberg, go ahead.
Spielberg. Let's. I'm gonna play that. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but I'm gonna play something really quick, and let's see if it'll work here. It's the, it's the T-Rex roar. I was just able to play that.
Oh man. My wife also told me, I don't know, she tells me a lot of untrue things. Don't tell her I said this.
She's a
But you
liar.
already
We all
know.
know.
You already know. We all know she's a liar. That it was like an elephant, a tiger, and something else. Do you know this fact?
It's in my notes here. It is a composite mix of a dog, penguin, tiger, a tiger snarl, an alligator's gurgle, and a baby elephant squeal.
Go ahead, sound engineers. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Go off. What were you, man? And it sounds amazing. I mean, that scene, like as a conclusion to this whole thing, that right there.
Mm-hmm. And we get the last line as the whole group gets together at the end, and I have it written down here. Where is it at? Where Alan Grant says something like, "After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park."
And Hammond's like, so have I.
So have I. Yeah, he's
And
like,
they get
"Yep,
the
this was a bad
most
idea."
silent helicopter ride of all time. And I'll say this as kind of a last note on like the end of the movie. I think they are all looking at these like pelicans flying over the water. And I said it to Natalia earlier. I was like, I think I'm not the only one that thought, I want something to jump out of the water and like whoop these pelicans at the end of this movie that says like, hey, the dinosaurs are out. Like they can swim.
Yeah. I think I took and I not a very similar thing when I saw those pelicans. I was just like, oh, that means those dinosaurs are getting off the island. Like if they're associated with birds, they're gonna get off the island, kind of thing.
My wife is also the kind of person that would be like, that's a blue-throated super bird. I don't know. Like so
Super bird.
yeah, I don't know.
So that's the end of that's the end of this
That's
movie.
it. That's Jurassic
That's
Park.
it. That's it. We have nothing else to talk about. I've
One-
got some.
one-
I've got a couple
you got some
quotes.
notes? Yeah, give it to me.
I've got some notes. I've got some quotes. Some of the things that we missed. One thing that we've talked about is the child acting in this movie. I think it's incredible. Mostly because I love the dynamic. They feel like a real brother and sister, even though they're not. One of my favorite scenes when they're going over the fence is Lex is like, hey, you want to race to the other side, see who gets over first or whatever. And he's like, Tim goes, what'll I win? And she goes, my respect. I just think that's awesome. That's such a
big
awesome brother sister thing.
say.
Yeah. My respect. What else do I have here? Oh, we missed this earlier, but obviously, like, we're not gonna hit every quote during the thing. When Ian Malcolm's talking, when they see the dinosaurs, he says, "God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs." And then Ellie from the side is like, "Dinosaurs eat man. Women inherit the earth." I love that scene.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's see. All major theme parks have delays. When they opened Disneyland in 1956, nothing worked. And then Malcolm replies, "Yeah, but John, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists."
Yep. That's a good one.
I've also got Timmy doing all his dinosaur jokes in the tree. I had those all written down. What do you call a blind dinosaur? Do you think he saw us? What do you call a blind dinosaur's dog? Do you think he saw us Rex? That was always
That
good.
is such a good run. Such a good run.
Yeah. And Alan, laughing at them. Again, moving into this, like, fatherly role. Like, and at the end of the movie, when they're on that quiet helicopter ride, the kids are surrounding him. He's kind of accepted it at that point. This movie's all about fatherhood and how terrifying it is.
I mean,
and it has
like
nothing to do with dinosaurs at all.
Shout out Cannibal Pirates. They completely break that narrative. I mean, like, fuck the chaos theory. Cannibal pirates eat people all the time. So yeah.
So before I have some other fun facts and everything. What else did you have? Any quotes or anything that we might have missed?
Last couple things from me, I would say that Westworld was such a good precursor to all this because you're talking about an amusement park where shit goes haywire, and instead of robots, you've got dinosaurs coming after people, right? Like, and if you haven't watched the first couple seasons of Westworld, I can't speak to the last couple seasons of Westworld. Those first couple seasons are great. It's just standalone. I love the guitar string thing with the water rumble, that there was like a sound engineer that figured out a perfect frequency to make that water. And I even saw that was because Spielberg was listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire on the way to a soundboard reading, and he was like rattling his rumbling his windows, and he wanted to replicate that. I thought that was super cool.
He must have had a pretty good system in his car.
I mean, he had some subs back in the back, right? Spielberg was working with Michael Crichton on ER when Michael Crichton was writing Jurassic Park. So Spielberg was pursuing the rights for Jurassic Park before it was published. That's super cool. Like, to have that support as a writer and an author to be writing a book, which I really enjoyed, with the support of Steven Spielberg. I
Yeah,
can only imagine.
absolutely.
Um, Steven Spielberg went from Jurassic Park straight to Schindler's List. Like, I mean, went from post production of Jurassic Park into filming Schindler's List. Well, like, come on, bro, go off. Like, just
Yeah.
went off
Well,
in '93, which we'll get to later
so
in
it
this.
yeah, we'll get to later.
Yeah, well, much
So the
much
only
later this
reason
year,
he
right?
had right, the only reason he got to do Schindler's List is because he agreed to do this movie. So they were
Yeah.
like, "You have to do this," and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll even do this one first, so you guys can have your summer blockbuster. You let me make Schindler's List." And so
I mean, if
we
I
get
talk about
a banger
much,
of a year for him.
yeah, if I talk as much as I want to about the transition that happened between stop animation and animatronics to CGI during
Hmm.
the creation of this movie, I'll pee in my pants before this is over with. It just
Yeah.
groundbreaking across, like, I want to say I heard I can't repeat it correctly, but around 50 CGI scenes, which was unprecedented at the time. Um, and then I think the only thing else that I have is that they were hit by a hurricane during filming because they were filming in Kauai, Hawaii, and they got hit by Hurricane Aniki during filming
Hmm.
and still created what we got to see, which is, I mean, like, again, go off the entire team from everybody that, like, was involved in this movie to be able to endure a hurricane and still create something like this, like, is
That hurt. That hurricane, I think, is the reason why we don't get to see Samuel L. Jackson die. Is
yeah,
because they couldn't film it because of that hurricane. Yeah,
yeah.
if I remember
It's
reading
so
that.
funny to think about him being like, fuck these fucking dinosaurs, and then like a T-Rex coming through the wall. uh that could have been like him like establishing that way earlier on.
It you were talking about all the scenes, the CGI scenes and everything about the dinosaurs. Only 11% of this movie contains dinosaurs, which I thought was pretty fascinating. The rest of this movie is all humans and just being scared. Again, it's kind of like a Jaws thing. Like, yes, we get
Yeah,
to see the dinosaurs here, but like most of this movie is built in like just the tension of
incredible dialogue.
what is going to happen. Yeah. Um, James Cameron wanted to make this movie, and the rights were bought a few hours before he could even bid on it. After seeing this movie, James Cameron decided that Spielberg was a better choice to direct it. But had Cameron done this movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been in the role of Alan Grant. Bill Paxton would have been in the role of Ian Malcolm, and Charlton Heston would have been the role of John Hammond. So we would have definitely gotten a different
Wow,
movie there.
wow,
And
that's
Sigourney
crazy.
Weaver probably would have been in the role of Ellie Sattler too if James Cameron was involved. So, um,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, your brother would have hated it. He hates James Cameron. Um, let me see what else here that I have. We're run. I knew we would run really long on this one.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. I don't really have anything that's too important to talk about. What else you got? But we haven't even given our ratings yet.
man, 5 out of 5 for me.
I mean, seriously, this is a 5 out of 5 movie for me. I don't know what Roger Ebert was smoking at the time, where he even gave it 3 out of 4 stars. I mean, this movie's mind blowing in what it presented to the world, what it has essentially led to, blockbuster wise, for our future, for computer generated effects. It's just and it's a great just story. It doesn't need a lot of, you don't, not every movie that's great needs a big dramatic scenes or anything like this. This is action packed. It's got good acting in it, solid acting. I seriously don't think that I have any complaints about this movie at all. it's great from start to finish to me.
Just a few little weird things from Ellie, I think. And just like a few little things, but other than that, that's basically perfect. So, my cat.
Don't know what that is. I thought
Cats are
that.
freaking.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know if we have anything else to say about this movie. I've kind of run out. 5 stars across the board for us. I assume other people in chat would say the same about this. It was awesome. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
I recommend it to anybody. I would show this to a child now, even though it's probably a
Watch
little bit
this
hard to
one,
watch. But
not the second one, not the third one, not any of the other ones. Watch the very
Jurassic,
first one.
I feel like they've ruined the
1993.
franchise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1993. I would say 1 and 2 are like. There's a lot of debate about number 2. I won't get into it, but like 1 and 2 are worth watching. The other ones watch if you will, if you want to keep it going. But yeah, definitely start at the very beginning, 1993, because man, Steven Spielberg just killed it. The whole team killed it. The casting, the kids. Yeah, what a groundbreaking movie for sure.
What did we give Groundhog Day?
Ooh, I want to say I said 3.5, 3.5 or a 4 myself, but I don't have it written down.
Yeah, I'll have to go
I'll
back
have
and
to
look.
go back.
Somebody asked
Yeah.
in the chat if this was first for both. I think I gave it a 5 star, but who
I think
knows?
you
I'm an
did
insane
too.
person.
Yeah, but yeah, we did pretty good.
There was a noise in the background, and I don't know if you heard it.
Was it me on my
No,
side?
in my background. No.
What was it?
It was in my background. Scared the shit out of me. The movie's already finished and rewound behind me.
Oh.
That's what it was. It was like, what the heck is that? It scared me so much. Next week we have a slightly different movie. It's kind of a parody of action movies, so to speak. And speaking of Schwarzenegger that we just talked about, we're going to be watching Last Action Hero, which is a classic movie from our childhood. It's kind of a children's movie, I think. So that one's going to be a good one to look forward to next week. On the horizon, though, we're going to be doing, on the horizon, though, we've got some good bonus episodes that I think we've been talking about. And for our next bonus one, we did the ranking of the Tarantino films. For the next one, I think we're going to go into the films of Wes Anderson. He's got around the same amount of films. I think he's got 9 or 10 with another one coming out this year. So we're going to do some research on those, some rewatches, bring Steven back, maybe bring Joseph back, and maybe bring in some other people. We don't know. We might have just tons of people in here talking about Wes Anderson and their rankings. Some people on TikTok did not like our rankings of the Tarantino thing, and they can all suck it because I don't care. But I want to finish up today just by thanking everybody. Thank you, Steven, for your patience with me as I get irritated with all of the delays and stuff that we have. I apologize to that. But thank you. Thank you for being with me on this one and talking to me about this one. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you next week.